Welcome everyone to another doctoral tutorial. Today we are going to be talking about keeping our research organized. And there's a lot of information that we were presented with the first course of 8090, which is your doctoral intensive study. What we're going to do is, once you get to entering your classroom, you're going to go to doctoral resources. And under the link of doctoral resources, we're going to be talking about this one right here, how to keep your research organized. And this is really important, especially when you start writing on your chapter 2, because you're going to have to try and explain what you did to search for the articles that you have that supports your study. So when you click on that link there, it's going to open up into a new dissertation document. We'll just save it wherever it's at and open that up. And so this is what it's going to look like. And what I did is I took this, which gives you a really good explanation on how to organize your research. So this is the organizational plan, and I'm just going to scroll through this quickly. I took what they had here, and I created my own dissertation research log in a Excel document that was easier for me to manage. So the first thing that I did, the references that I had found, I put on the first page because that's the one I'm going to refer to the most. So all of the references that I felt, and these are not, I'm not going to be using all of them, but all of the references that I felt would be beneficial to the study that I was engaging in is listed in the first tab. And as you can see, I've got several. I think I have over 160 articles here. Yeah, 165 articles is what I've actually found. And like I said, I'm not going to be using all of them, but I wanted to kind of take you through the steps that I have done to try and keep this portion of my research study organized. So I took a lot of this from that first, let me open that back up again, from this example right here, but I needed to have a little bit more than that because of the nature of my study. So what I did is I have a setting. I'm studying family child care programs, and so what I needed to do is I needed to be able to quickly and easily differentiate literature that was conducted on early childhood as a whole, on center-based child care, and on family child care. And so with that, I needed to have a better definition or a quick reference on which ones were written on what. So number one, these are my family child care. Number two are my center-based child care. And those are the two that I'm most interested in. As I move on through looking through this one's on family child care, so this would be a 1. But as I move through reviewing these again, then I'll be able to find the ones that are for preschools and kindergarten. There's several of them in there, and what I'll do is that will become a 3 for early childhood. I can even break that down even farther to have a 3 for preschool, a 4 for kindergarten, and a 5 for older grades. But that's how I'm trying to keep that together. So I'm only interested right now in sifting through what is written on what's available for child care programs that are before preschool. So that would get a 1 or a 2. My location, I have both inside the United States and outside the United States, as this study that I'm doing is going to have a global feel to it. It's going to have a global scope. It was important for me to be able to quickly determine which ones are inside and which ones are outside the United States. And that kind of helped me keep those organized. Article ID is just basically just that, article IDs. As I move them around, the ID doesn't change, so I can quickly and easily find those. The topic, this tells me what, the topic isn't the topic of the study that I'm looking at. The topic that I have here is, and maybe I could have termed it something else, but this was easy for me to understand. This is what I need, what I'm using the study to support. This one's supporting the literature review. This one's talking about infant care, child development, which would be early childhood in a whole. These are perspectives. So I have little notes here, structural and process experience. I have little tabs here that will tell me why I was interested in this study in the first place. The participants, as you can see, I have one that's all filled out, but I just wanted to open up one of my older files that did not have that available yet. So that way you can be the ones to fill in this after you have read the referenced article that you're talking about. So for this one, it's a review of literature, so the participants is going to be 0. Now my scope, I have a little key over here right now. Here are my categories that I'm using at the moment. And here's my scope. 1's family child care, 1's center, 3 is both, and 4 is other or unspecified. That's how I've differentiated this. Then I have a spot where I can enter in the variables that they discuss, their findings, and give a brief synopsis of the article itself. And that will help you with your literature review. Now, the search parameters the search strategies that you use are a section that you will have to write out in Chapter 2. It's the first section after your introduction. And so what I did to help myself out, we're going to go up to the top here. This was incredibly important to me because my study being focused on family child care, I needed to show that the research was lacking. And so with this, I was able to take the search parameters that I was looking for and break them down. For family child care, these are the search terms that I used, the database that I looked for, and the permalinks. Some of them I have here and some of them I don't. But for my particular study, I'm interested in the pedagogies of family child care. So this was one of the things that I used. The number of results that were returned when I searched this for any time and anywhere was 2,089 results. When I reduced that down to just recent articles, 2014 to current, that dropped that number down to 7. When I researched, though, when I narrowed that focus again to United States based only, it dropped it down to 2. So now I have a very good discussion that I can make, or that I can make of the lack of research on this particular topic, especially in terms of current research. This will support the use of more seminal articles, the use of dissertations as means of support. Dissertations are kind of like not a secondary source, but they're not peer-reviewed, so they're not as favorable as those that you would find in a journal. But obviously, if I'm only going to have 7 new resources to look at in this particular on this particular thing, then I'm going to be able to support the need to use those dissertations when I find them. So when I come back up here, this is just one database. So they're going to look at this and they're going to say, okay, you only found that in one database. What about others? Well, now here we get down to more intense, more exhaustive searches where I'm doing several different words and I'm looking in another database. So with this one, anywhere for current, whoops, where did it come out? There it is. This one here for current brought back more than 4,000 results. Here's another one in this particular search, that still very narrow scope on how many research articles are done with this. Now we go to education source, and look, we're seeing another pattern. All time anywhere, there's 54 returns on these phrases, these keywords, key terms. If you bring it to current research, 2014 or newer, that drops to 13. You bring it to the United States and it drops to 6. So we're still seeing that same pattern. And this is important for me to know, to be able to support why I need to use the dissertations that have come up over the last year or two. I won't go back farther than that, but over the last year or two, there's been a couple of dissertations that have discussed the pedagogies in family child care, or discussed the pedagogies in early childhood, that I can use now, because now I have a reason, a solid reason for that. And here's another one. We went to ProQuest Central, and this one was kind of interesting, because not only did I list all the things that I wanted it to search for, I was noticing that it was bringing back a big return on clinical stuff, on more towards the healthcare more than it was education. So I had to tell the search parameters to cut all that out. I don't want all of that. So when we cut all of that out, and let me get down here. Oh, now we're in education source complete. Let's back up here. So when we cut all that out, what did we decide B was? For results anytime, that returned, cutting out all the medical stuff, that returned 1,384 results. But when I narrowed that focus to 2014 or newer, I only have 847. Narrowing it again to the US only returned 74 results. So with this, I will be able to support the need for using the current dissertations. This is a wonderful way for you to really see what it is those returns are telling you. I mean, the search parameters that you're using are just as important as the references that it provides to you, because with that, you can take a good look at this and see, and this will actually help support your statement if you're saying that there's a lack of research on something, there's not enough known about something. This type of search log will help you support that. That's all that we have today. I hope that you found this helpful and that you'll be able to use something like this. If you would like to have a blank copy of my dissertation research log, then you may email me at shauna.ebbeson@gmail.com, and I can get that sent out to you. And it will be blank with a couple of instructions or suggestions on how to use this. Thank you, and good luck moving forward.